Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention. This is your boy, the coach from the WWE. I would like to welcome you to the very first wrestling podcast in the world to take you on a weekly deep dive into classic matches along with legends of the squared circle. Enjoy the discussion. Enjoy the back and forth. There's so much to get into. Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Payoff.
Welcome to an all-new episode of The Payoff. I'm Tom. That's Jeff. Dude, we're going 36 years back. SummerSlam 1989.
Way back in the vault. Yep.
Way back. But first, how the hell are you doing?
I'm feeling good. It's right in the heat of a lot of what's happening with wrestling right now, and so that's always good. And so we've got SummerSlam on the horizon, Evolution, and there was all kinds of pay-per-views, 2 weekends ago or whatever it was, and so we got a lot happening, just good stuff, and why not?
All right, so we've covered Rude Warrior for the world title. Now we're covering it for the Intercontinental Championship. How did this match hit your radar?
Yeah, so SummerSlam season, more than anything, just kind of checking this out. I know I've been trying to find more of these since they removed Raw from, it's hard to find a few years of Raw in there on Netflix right now until they kind of repopulate everything. And so trying to avoid some of that right now. But this is one that you and I have always said, I'm trying to find more matches from this kind of time period, from that 85 to 95, some of these a little bit older that sometimes get forgotten about, or, you talk about it and it was so long ago that you're like, oh yeah, they did have a match for this. And so this did happen. And so this was just one that, obviously two big names out there. These guys, not the biggest fans of each other either. And so from kind of reading up on a few things. And so, with all of that and all these pieces of play, and then just, SummerSlam season, why not? So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. And, one of the things I love about Rude is, and we'll talk more about this, but, he's in that conversation of greatest to never hold the world title. So I think part of this match is going to be a love fest on Rick Rude because he's just one of the all-timers. And man, you look at some of these guys like a Rick Rude and you're like, dude, he should have a podcast now. He should be on the documentaries now. It sucks that so many of these guys are gone. So anyways, I'm looking forward to this one. Let's jump into the build.
Oh, it's time for the build.
All right. So way back in our time machine, 1989. This is the second ever SummerSlam. We're in Jersey, August 28th, 1989. On the cover of the promotional poster, we've got Hogan and Beefcake, Zeus and Macho Man. So we're continuing this Macho Hogan thing. This was the era, and there were a few years where they'd take the WrestleMania main event and then they do it at SummerSlam, but make it into a tag match. Just wild now. It's I feel like when we get a tag team match as a main event, it's doesn't feel like a big deal, but that was a big selling point back then.
Yep.
So, all right, let's run through this card. Dark match, Dino Bravo is going to defeat Coco Beware in 9 minutes. First match on the show, the Brainbusters defeat the Hart Foundation in 16 minutes. Dusty Rhodes is going to defeat the Honky Tonk Man in 9 minutes. Mr. Perfect's going to defeat the Red Rooster in 3 minutes. Rick Martel and the Fabulous Rougeaus are going to defeat Tito Santana and the Rockers in a 15-minute 6-man tag match. Then the match we're covering. After that, we get Jim Duggan and Demolition defeating Andre the Giant and the Twin Towers in 7 minutes. Greg Valentine's going to defeat Hercules in 3 minutes. Ted DiBiase is going to defeat Jimmy Snuka by countout in 6 minutes. And then our main event, Hulk Hogan and Brutus, the Barber Beefcake, who was very fortunate to be Hulk Hogan's best friend at the time, are going to defeat Randy Savage and Zeus in 15 minutes. And believe it or not, that wasn't the end of Hulk Hogan and Zeus and this whole feud, but 9-match card, some longer matches. Jeff, how did we get the Ultimate Warrior and Rick Rude for the Intercontinental Championship?
Yeah, of course. So this being kind of in a weird spot on the card, like you said, it's kind of really in the middle of all of this. It did end up being one of the longer matches on this one outside of that opening kind of tag team with the Harts and Anderson and Blanchard. But with these two guys, it really started earlier this year, 1989, at the Royal Rumble, where they had the superposed down segment. If you remember, kind of doing the different kind of bodybuilder poses, kind of trying to show off. The Warrior, definitely more popular with the crowd. Rude, not a fan of that, so attacked Warrior, hit him with one of the barbells. And so that's what really kind of started the rivalry here. You jump up to WrestleMania 5 that April. You actually had Rick Rude defeating The Undertaker to win the Intercontinental Championship at that time. And so he was also, that was because of interference from Bobby the Brain Heenan. He held Warrior's leg, became a whole thing. So that is where the belt came from, was or why Rude has the belt, is because he won it at WrestleMania. Don't have the hot shotting like we did for a while there. And so he held that whole time. And so Warrior, though, not happy because it wasn't a clean win for Rude, really started going after Rick Rude. Promos, run-ins, everything. They were really kind of billing it as Warrior wanted revenge on him. And so while you had, on the flip side, though, Rude kind of fanning the flames of that and saying, like, being cocky, being the heel, he was, of course, like the only man to pin the Ultimate Warrior. So really kind of good heel work kind of leading into this one. But this was booked as a rematch of that WrestleMania match. It was kind of billed, like you said, not on the front of the poster, like you said, and not the main event, but billed as Warrior's shot at redemption and his chance to beat Rude to reclaim the title that he could not win from Rude after the kind of interference win. So good little tight build, 6 months, of doing all this. But yeah, just that's how we got here.
Love it, man. We got a lot to cover on this one.
Yep. I'm excited.
1 hour and 7-minute mark, SummerSlam 1989. Are you ready?
Somehow it's done. I'm ready.
It's time for the payoff.
Oh, it's time for the payoff.
And if he is a lunatic like you say, the last place I'd want to be is in the ring with a guy like this.
Yeah, but don't forget something, Schiavone. Nobody gave Ravishing Rick Rude a chance.
That's
all right,
Tony Schiavone.
Ventura and Schiavone, what a commentary team you got there. Man, it's wild. Like during this era, every pay-per-view had like a different combination. I mean, you get Ventura and Gorilla and Bobby and Gorilla, and Vince was on a lot of commentary.
Vince, yeah, right. Yep.
All right, so place is loud. We'll cut in on the sound throughout the match. Rude's got his, airbrush tights on, mocking the Warrior. He's got the Warrior logo on the front. We'll see what he has on the back. I do see the word heat. Warrior, average outfit at best. Not his best, not his worst.
Great shape though. Yep.
Yeah, built like a Greek god. May have taken creatine, but never was on the gas. I'm being sarcastic.
Of course, yeah.
But
it's all natural.
Man, jacked up, and we're off to a fast start here. Boom.
Just feel the heat. Yep.
It's interesting because people bag on the Warrior like in ring, and I know part of that is that he was a little stiff sometimes and pissed off the boys, and that's where it came from. I mean, Jeff, let's watch this match, but I doubt we're going to watch this match and go, oh my goodness, the Warrior was so bad in the ring. Like I've never once, just tosses him all the way outside. Like I've never I've never watched the Warrior and been like, oh my goodness, his in-ring is just so awful. Like, it's totally fine. And in big matches like Rude for the world title, Hogan for the world title, Macho Man at WrestleMania 7, in those big matches, he had really good matches. Oh, well, his match in WCW in 96 or whatever, or I'm sorry, 98 sucked. Yeah, it did suck. It did. But you know, he was fine in the ring. Like, I'm just watching this, and at no point am I like, oh, he's not a good worker. I mean, would he be a good worker by today's standards? Probably not. But that's not the lens we're looking at through. So he did what he needed to. And anyways, this will be fun. I mentioned it earlier. You know, Rude's on that list of best to never be world champion. You know, oftentimes you'll hear Scott Hall, Jake Roberts, Roddy Piper, Owen Hart, Mr. Perfect, Davey Boy Smith. But you know, it's funny because most of those guys, if not all of them, would have been world champion if we were booking 12 pay-per-views a year and we had 2 world titles because of a brand split. So, you know, different era. I mean, they would have all been world champions. But here's the other point is, it's funny because, like, I think a good current day example is LA Knight. LA Knight's not world champion. Oh, how can he not be world champion? Like, does it really matter? You know, I mean, Jake Roberts never held the world title, and he's, you know, one of the all-time greats and has a successful podcast and has a line at the conventions. And, you know, Hacksaw Jim Duggan never held the world title either. I mean, these guys are beloved. So I think we sometimes put too much stock into that. And I don't know if LA Knight really cares, because I think that he's living his dream and making a hell of a lot of money, and he'll be successful for the rest of his life because of this run. So, you know, sometimes I think we put a little too much stock in that. Like, does it matter? And, oh, you know, Jey Uso had a run, but the run was quick. So did he even need the title? You know, I don't know. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that you got to almost have to separate them. And so, yeah, do we like Roddy Piper less because he never won the world title? Absolutely not. Like, that's not the case. Is Owen Hart and what he did that contribute any less to the overall wrestling landscape because he didn't win it? No, absolutely not. And so, like you said, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, like, I think that you're in a position, especially, and he's a great example of this right now. And I wonder, you know, over the recent weeks, you know, or especially with Money in the Bank, people were very upset coming out of that. Like, oh, it was finally time. Why haven't we done it? Like, you know, we need to put the strap on him. He should have the chance. But at the same time, like, we don't know what, I think we don't know what these guys are thinking backstage. Like, he could be, like you said, he's perfectly happy. He's on TV almost every week. You know, he's making bank. Like, he's probably going to get re-signed because Triple H, like, while we may not like the booking of him right now, like, he has had a more prominent role than a manager that Vince had him in. And so I think it's one of those where you got to look at it from us as armchair kind of quarterbacks on some of this stuff doesn't always make a ton of sense. And so, but on the flip side, like you said, like, we're enjoying him. We see him on TV every week. Like, what's not to like? And so I think that's just such a good, like, a big part of it of, you got to make sure to disconnect a little bit to say, oh yeah, like, while he may not have the title right now or ever, sadly for some people, like, that's just kind of how it is. And so, I think same, like, you know, with some of these other guys, like, when we don't know, you know, we can go back and look at 1989 and know how Warrior's career played out and Rick Rude's career played out. But for LA Knight, like, he's still out there, and you know, ask me in 10 years, you know, when we're filming episode 900 or whatever, like, let me know, and we can bring it back up. But yeah, I think it's just one of those where, unless you kind of look at it through a couple different lenses, which wrestling fans struggle to do, like, that's like, who knows what's going to happen? It could very well, we could come out of this weekend, SummerSlam or Survivor Series, and all of a sudden he's the number one contender. You just never know.
Dude, this is a pretty hot match.
Yeah, it has been.
Hard to keep this man down.
But the advantage is now ravishing Rick Rude. He needs to stay on the Ultimate.
I mean, Jesse Ventura calling it like it's a sporting event, which is just awesome. I mean, he still does that now on Saturday night's main event. He justifies the heel's actions. He talks about it. Sometimes I think we overthink wrestling and just pretend it's real. Talk about it like it's real. Yeah, he's wearing down Warrior's back right now, and that may affect him trying to hit his finisher, his press slam later in the match. This is smart by Rude. Got him in the center of the ring. Like it's you start doing that, and you lose the fakeness of it, if you will, which I really like. So, anyways, really hot match. It's funny because I feel like, and this is probably true in like all genres, right? It's true in sports, it's true in politics. Like sometimes there's just groupthink where certain things get said and they become folklore. Like if you had never watched wrestling before or didn't, follow internet wrestling dirt sheet bullshit, you'd watch Warrior right now and you'd be like, oh man, what a really good wrestler. Like what a, right? Like what a great character. What a great athlete moving around, and look how strong he is. And oh, look at him right now. He's, like you would never look at the Warrior and go, oh, what a sloppy worker, Jeff. Oh, what a stiff, right? So it's just funny how, people, they read Meltzer, they hear Meltzer talk about what a horrible worker Warrior is, and then that's just their thing, right? Oh, Warrior sucked in the ring. At no point in this match are you looking at the Warrior and going, oh, he's really bad in the ring. Yeah, I mean, he was a little stiff, but you wouldn't know it if you didn't hear the wrestlers talk about it. So anyways, just an observation, but and then the which also begs the question, how much of, and whether it's Meltzer or any other dirt sheet blogger, wrestling writer, how much of their reporting is based on personal relationships? For instance, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, two names in particular, have been chummy with Meltzer forever. Yeah. So you're telling me that doesn't affect their star ratings? You're telling me that doesn't affect the way they are covered? Of course it does.
How could it not?
Yeah. So, gosh, why are certain wrestlers picked on in the dirt sheets? Why are certain wrestlers? I mean, if Kurt Angle was a great resource for Dave Meltzer, you're telling me he wouldn't have had a 5-star match at some point? Of course he would have. I think they're heavily influenced by their sources. The other piece of this is, who are their sources? Because here's what I always laugh about. And this happens in sports too. Okay. Like really pay attention to your favorite team, because your favorite team, you'll have one reporter report one thing. You'll have another reporter report the total opposite. Well, one of them has to be wrong. So either neither has a clue or one of them doesn't have a clue. It happens in wrestling all the time. Who's feeding these guys information? No one is sitting on the board of directors at TKO, grabbing their phone during the meeting and shooting Meltzer a text message.
Right.
Okay. Is anyone sitting in the writer's room doing that? I don't know. Probably not. So it's like, you get these like third-hand stories from a mid-carder who Sean Ross Sapp was texting with when he was on the Indies, and they're still buddies. And that's your source. And who knows if it's accurate, and who knows if the wrestler's just working the dirt sheet writer. That's why you just can't put stock in this stuff. Scroll through Twitter, you just see contradictory reports. WrestleMania is going to be in Vegas. WrestleMania is going to be in Saudi. WrestleMania is going to be in London. They don't know where WrestleMania is going to be. Okay. So you mean to tell me that they pulled out of New Orleans but didn't know where they were going to go?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I mean, come on.
And so you got Warrior has him beat, and then the ref took a bump though and can't get the pin on Rude, and so trying for it again now. The ref trying to crawl over slowly.
So
yeah, well, to your point on all that,
real quick. You hear you hear the crowd noise. I swear, these crowds.
But Bobby is still worried.
Just were more electric than today's crowds. My theory on this is look around right now. How many of them are on their iPhones?
Yeah.
I just feel like people were more glued. Like, and would be like if this were an NBA game in, 89, it'd be the same thing. Where I just feel like everyone's staring at the action and making noise. There is no distraction. There's no screen. There's no big jumbotron. There's no iPhone. There's nothing else to do but watch these two go at it. And half the damn audience thinks it's real still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, we had no clue back in 89. Yeah, we thought he was the womanizing heel. Warrior was the, big bodybuilder type. Yeah. To your previous point, I think it's interesting because you said it, and I almost want to clarify a little bit here of you said, two reporters reporting on something and somebody's got to be wrong. They can both be wrong. Let's be clear, there is a whole lot of bad information out there about wrestling at any given time. And yeah, some weeks Dave Meltzer contributes to that more than he should. Don't call yourself a journalist or a reporter if that's not what you are. If you're not, reporting that, I know, Sean Ross Sapp reports more news than a lot, but again, there's weeks where he gets worked. I think now that in the kind of light of day, a little bit more removed from it, I think our truth, I believe less that was a work. I do think that, they said Nick Khan had to get involved and it was a whole thing, and it was really kind of day of type bringing him back in. But yeah, Rude up on the top, kind of a weird punch.
Man, this match is really good. And here comes Roddy Piper down to the ringside. In some of this, Jeff, R-Truth, work, shoot. Who cares?
Who cares?
God, just enjoy this stuff. Oh, but Triple H said to enjoy the show. It's all part of the show. Can you believe he said that? Get over yourself. By the way, here's the thing. Triple H, does he say things during these worked shoot press conferences that aren't true? Yes. Does the GM of your favorite team go on after the NFL draft and say that they drafted the guy that they wanted that was number one on their board? Yes. Is he lying to you? Yes. Okay. Fans of genres think that somehow they're entitled to the truth. You don't get the truth from your favorite politician. You don't get the truth from the GM of your favorite team. You get worked by everyone. Get over it.
So you have Piper flashing his bare ass to Rick Rude for a distraction. The Warrior now powering up in the center of the ring after a suplex and kind of a running clothesline here, kind of getting ready to finish off Rude. Yep.
Would allow Piper to come out here and distract the champion.
High over his head.
Big press. Yep.
Drops him down. The Warrior. Rolls it over. Yes. Let's get this.
Listen to the crowd. Jesus.
There you go. Look at him. Look at him. I mean, how over was that guy?
Seriously.
That's unbelievable. Wow.
People losing their minds over it. Yep.
Oh, dude, this was fantastic. But let's close the loop on this because I just think it's so funny that wrestling fans are so delusional that they think they deserve the absolute 100% honest truth from wrestling executives.
Mm-hmm.
And number two, that wrestling's any different than any other genre. Like, be smart enough to realize that most people are bullshitting you. Okay? Most actors and actresses are bullshitting you. Most sports executives are bullshitting you. Most athletes are bullshitting you. Like, I mean, come on. You know, like, how do you sit there and go, oh, well, Tony Khan has always told the truth? No, he gets on podcasts and positions things the way he wants, just like Vince used to do, just like Triple H does, just like Nick Khan does. Oh, we're going back to Vegas for WrestleMania because we had so much fun and we loved it. No, they're going back there because Vegas offered the most money. Like, be smart. I mean, honestly. So, anyways, all right, let's get into the aftermath.
Ho! It's time for the aftermath.
What'd you think of this?
Yeah, it was really good. It was more, a lot more harder hitting than I expected it to be.
Dude, this was a great match. I mean, just I don't know what it was, 14 minutes or something. I mean, it was a great nonstop match. Far better than I expected.
Yeah, absolutely. This is just one of those that, like we say, sometimes we kind of get to that mid-card match we say don't go back to. This is one that, was pretty good. So kind of what happened, like we said, the biggest part was when Piper kind of came out from the back, mooned Rick Rude, bare-assed, distracted Rude enough so that Warrior could hit the press slam and then the big splash for the win.
We don't get enough bare-ass mooning interference in matches.
We really don't. Even like a trunk pull down or something like that. Like, I can't, there are days I feel like I've seen Shawn Michaels ass more than my own, and so just wild. But this one kind of really reestablishing Warrior as the top baby face. He actually would hold the belt, like this SummerSlam, he'd hold the belt until next WrestleMania 6, of course, where he vacated it for the Intercontinental belt. He had vacated that one because he defeated Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship. So it was a title versus title match. So really gave up the Intercontinental to move up a little bit there. So, but before that, though, this feud kept going and through much of 89 and into 90, Rude and Warrior kind of had some back and forth. SummerSlam 1990 as well, too. They had another match. This time it was for the WWF Championship or WWE Championship.
That was also a really good match.
That was a steel cage match that the Warrior won that one as well. But it really did kind of, he was already, but Rude really just one of the top heels for everything that he was doing working against the Warrior. So the PWI, getting into the reviews and kind of write-ups on this one, PWI in 89 was doing monthly kind of write-ups, and so there wasn't really a whole lot that, of course, there were some months missing, and so it wasn't able to pull a full PWI for where these guys were, but I'm sure they were both fairly high up on there. Meltzer gave this one 3.5 stars and said the pacing, the psychology, and the crowd investment elevated it beyond typical mid-card fare, which, we didn't talk like, why wasn't this later? Like, why did they just dump this really in the middle of the card? Like, it didn't make a ton of sense. I get the main event. I get, Hogan and Beefcake and Zeus, but like, it just, maybe open with this one. It doesn't make a ton of sense. But then you had a really good opening match too. So it was more like, well, the stars ratings, which, we don't live and die by that, it wouldn't necessarily show that this was a great card. But on the flip side, like, I feel like you maybe could have done some shuffling here. Maybe they just didn't know what they had. I don't know. So what are your thoughts? What's your score? What are you thinking?
I really like this. I have it far higher than Meltzer did. Jeff, I'm going to give this an 8.
Okay.
And 2 all-time greats, a very good match, audience super loud the entire match, huge pop for the end. This is part of a multi-year feud. Both guys won, and we blew it all off with a great main event cage match at SummerSlam down the line. Huge fan of this, and way better than I expected. What about you?
Yeah, I too, I had it at a 7.5. I probably could even bump it up to an 8 a little bit. I think this was one that just, it kind of flies under the radar. Because it was really in the middle of their feud. So you forget about, they had matches before this for the belt. They had matches after this for bigger belts. And so this was really kind of a stepping stone match for some of these other ones that we got, but doesn't make it any less good. It was really good. And so it kind of makes me want to go back and find some of these other ones too, to see hey, where, and I think we've covered one or two of them, but to go back and be okay, did they just have great chemistry in the ring? Rude has said he was not a big fan of working with him in the ring, but I don't give a shit if that's the kind of product we get. It's almost like a Seth Rollins type thing. They can hate each other, like him and CM Punk, but if I get a good match out of it, I don't give a shit. The behind the scenes doesn't matter to me. Give me some good in-ring product and I'm happy. So yeah.
Hey, I'm asking this in all seriousness because I really don't know. Does Rollins legitimately not like Punk?
I believe so, yeah.
I honestly do not know. And I know I sound like such a mark asking that question, but I really have no idea.
I don't know.
I don't either.
But I guess that helps.
If they do not have legitimate heat, they've got me hook, line, and sinker. I swear to you, I really do assume that Rollins does not like him. And again, if they're buddies, they got me good.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking through some stuff. It says, part of the Bully Ray is your source here. Seth Rollins does not like CM Punk at all, and Punk can't stand what Rollins has turned into. There's very real animosity. This says, Rollins himself said, Punk became such a cancer to my career for many years, a parasite. After leaving WWE in 2014, expecting his friends to walk with him, he went on. He really just wanted to take pot shots at me or the company. It really bothered me internally. And so, yeah, it kind of says there's just some real, it says kind of stemming from when Punk left the first time. And so, yeah, I'm sure that, they're professional enough where, they can dislike each other outside of the ring, but inside the ring is, it doesn't matter. And then they can use that heat and promos and all kinds of other stuff. But yeah, it's just, probably a little bit. And I guess that's part of what makes this interesting is we don't know, and that's okay.
Yep.
So, all right. All right, we got SummerSlam this weekend, but then next week we're still, I guess, won't have left the road to SummerSlam, if you will. So we got a real big one, actually. Bret Hart and The Undertaker with a special guest referee of your favorite, Shawn Michaels from SummerSlam 1997.
Well, I'm pumped to cover that one, man. That'll be a good match. I know there's a lot of shenanigans in that. So yeah, man, we're in SummerSlam season, and this was a lot of fun. This was better than expected, and then of course, really looking forward to next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm feeling good.
All right, dude. Well,
all right.
We appreciate everyone listening. We'll see you next week on an all new episode of The Pad.